Hi everyone. I just wanted to give a quick demonstration of how to use the AccuData tool, or the ADX tool for short. Using the ADX tool in tangent with the Windows Task Scheduler, you'll be able to set up scheduled imports to automatically run at certain times of the day. To get started, you'll need to download and install the ADX tool. To get to it, go to the left side menu under Advanced Options. From here, click on Import and you'll be taken to the import screen. Click on View Documentation under Learn How. You'll be able to see the link to download the Data Exchange tool here. When you download it, you'll end up with an icon like this. Double-click it to begin the installation process. When you're done installing the ADX tool, you'll end up with this icon on your desktop. Double-click on it to get started. When you first open the ADX tool, you'll be taken to this window. We actually use this tool for a few of our other products as well, so just choose AccuCampus from this list. Now enter your login credentials. These are the same credentials as when you log into AccuCampus through the website. For this demonstration, I'll be putting in my credentials for our testing account. Now from here, select the type of import you want to do. You have the entire list of possible imports from this drop-down menu. For this demonstration, I'll be doing a media import. After selecting your import type, click on the three ellipses here to select the CSV file to import. If you're having trouble creating your CSV file, you can click on View Documentation to see the guidelines for making your CSV file. After locating and selecting your CSV file of choice, simply hit Open. The parameters box is optional. This field allows you to put certain parameters based on what import type you're importing to accurately define how the import will act. I know that sounds a little vague, but for example, the media import type has location parameter that would allow you to specify to what location on campus the media should be uploaded. We actually don't have accurate documentation on parameters right now, so I'll save explaining this for another video. Click Next to move on. This window will show all the information you just defined so you can confirm that it is all correct. Once you've confirmed that the information is right, click on the ellipses here to save batch file somewhere. I would choose a location that you remember and where the file won't be messed with. The batch file that this tool will create is what the task scheduler will run during the appointed time. This is the file that will actually do the importing, so make sure nothing happens to it. Go ahead and save the batch file where you want it, but for demonstration purposes, I'm just saving it to the desktop. When you click OK, you'll notice that this file was created. The ADX tool will also ask you to start scheduling your first import. This window will open up. This is the Windows Task Scheduler. It will first open up to the General tab. This tab shows you the name of the task that runs at the appointed time, and you can write a short description of it here if you wanted to. You don't really have to worry about the rest of these options for a basic import, but I'll try to give a quick explanation on all the options anyway. Under Security, you'll notice that your computer's account name will show up. This field just states which user account will be running this task. By default, it should be whatever one you're using at the current time, but you can change it if you want to. Under the User field, you'll notice a few choices. The default is Run only when user is logged on. This option is set so that if you're logged into the above account, this task will run at the designated time, otherwise it won't. If you select Run whether user is logged on or not, you'll allow the task to run at the designated time even if you're not logged in. You'll notice that there's a little box below that. Selecting this option will restrict the task from storing your computer account password, but that means the task scheduler will have limited access to resources to run the task. That means any task utilizing a program that requires you to be logged in won't run correctly. Right under that, you'll notice the box that says Run with highest privileges. This basically means you'll allow the task to run with highest priority. The last few options are Hidden and Configure. Checking Hidden just hides the task from the task list, and Configure allows you to change what Windows operating system want to specifically configure the task for. The Triggers tab is one you might be more interested in. This is where you can set up the time that the task should run. By default, we have one here already, but we can delete it like so. Let's go ahead and add a new trigger. You'll have several options to customize when the task will run. The first one is Begin the task. This gives you a drop-down list for several options for when to run the task. By default, it follows the schedule you set up. You can choose whichever you think will work best for you. The next settings are for how to run the task: one time, daily, weekly, or monthly. When you select one, you'll be able to see more options to further customize the time. For weekly, I can choose how many weeks to wait before it runs the task again and on what days. Under the advanced settings, the first setting you'll notice is delay task. Checking this box allows you to delay the task on the specified day for a certain amount of time before it runs. The next one, repeat task, is for if you need the task to be repeated again within an hour. The third option, stop the task, will stop the task if the job it is performing lasts longer than the amount of time selected. This is handy for if an import gets stuck for too long. Expire will disable the task at the specified date. Enabled simply means that the task is active. You don't have to worry too much about the Actions tab. This action basically states, start this specified program when the task begins. Our specified program being the batch file that the ADX tool created to conduct imports. The Conditions tab works together with the triggers to further specify when to start the task. The task won't start if any of the conditions you specify are not true. The first set of options lets you start the task only if the computer has been idle for a certain amount of time, or if the computer stops being idle during the task. The next set of options will only start the task if the computer is connected to AC power, like a wall outlet, and will stop the task if it goes on battery power. It will also wake the computer if it happens to be in sleep mode. The last option will only start the task if a connection to one of the networks listed is available. The Settings tab gives you additional settings for the task. Allow task to be run on demand lets the task be run when you want it to. The next option runs the task as soon as possible if one of the specified times is missed. The next option allows you to restart the task, if it fails, after a certain amount of time. The next option gives you the ability to stop the task if it runs longer than the specified amount of time. This option is similar to one located in the Triggers tab. The next option stops the task if the task does not end when it should. The last checkbox deletes the task entirely if it hasn't been scheduled to run for a certain amount of time. The last drop-down box affects the task if it tries to run when the task is already running. By default, if a task is already running, it will not start another instance of the task. The next tab is Run Times. This tab shows you the next scheduled run times that the task will run based on what triggers and conditions you set. The last tab is History. This shows previously run tasks. And that's a quick rundown of every setting in the task scheduler. Click OK to finish setting up the task. If you need to access your tasks list, you just need to open up the Windows Task Scheduler. In Windows 8.1 and 10, you can use the search bar to look up Task Scheduler. In Windows 7, you can access the Task Scheduler by going through your control panel and then to Administrative Tools. The Task Scheduler will open up like this. Click on your library in the top left to access your list of tasks. You'll notice the task we just created right here. Don't worry about the other tasks, those are just default ones created by Windows or other programs. When you click on the task in the list, you'll see the properties of it on the menu below. Although, you can't change any of it from here. If you want to change anything, you have to click on Properties on the right side of the window. This will open up the window we were just working in to set up the task. And that's it. Hopefully I was able to give a quick and understandable rundown of the ADX tool and the task scheduler. It's very simple to use, and the default settings in the task scheduler will work for most basic imports. If you need further assistance, you can contact the AccuCampus support team directly. Thanks for watching.